Roy Campanella and Robin Roberts coming up. And before Jackie comes to the plate, he's being introduced now. Roy Campanella will be next. Gene Kelly was down talking to Campy before the ball game. I had a chance to say hello to him quickly. He said his hand was feeling a little better, but he went into it more in detail with Gene.
Well, as you know, he had a bone operation in his left wrist, and he had lost the feeling of the little finger, the ring finger, and part of the thumb of his left hand. Of course, that's very important for the grip since Campanella has so much swinging strength as well, and he got scared. He thought that he was going to get paralyzed, he felt, and he went back to the physician or the surgeon that cut on him originally. He said it's a natural reaction after the operation and will gradually re-strengthen itself. As you know, he's caught the last 3 in a row, if not 4, and he wants to catch all the way in this ball game today, and he's ready to play.
Jackie Robinson leading off in the top of the 3rd inning for the National League, hitting at .321 in the regular season. Strike 1, good fastball in there. Strike 2 called, another good fastball just above the knees. A bouncer to Chico, Carrasquel to Rosen, and Robinson is out. Short to first, Carrasquel to Rosen. A hand for Roy Campanella, also of the Brooklyn Dodgers, coming up, and you see Sandy Consuegra, right-hand pitcher of the Chicago White Sox, warming up. He will follow Ford on the hill. A little outside for a ball. No score, first half of the 3rd inning, 1 out. A high pop foul out of play upstairs. Campanella's average is in the sub-stratosphere, so to speak, at the moment at .215, but that's due to his injury. But he still packs a lot of power. He's hit 13 home runs for the Dodgers this year. High. Ball 2, 2-2. Pennsylvania or Philadelphia. Took a good cut at that one, boy. Fouled it off. This giant throng watching the ball game, sitting back relaxed, enjoying the spectacle of all these great stars together on one field. And, of course, awaiting something exciting to cut loose lustily for their vocal appreciation of this star-studded group of men from the American and National Leagues. It's a warm day, as Gene Kelly told you, and Whitey wants to kind of dry the perspiration from his hands. Foul back upstairs into the press box. And the gentleman made a catch without benefit of a glove. The telegraph operator. And by the way, there are many of them here sending out hundreds of thousands of words all over the nation as the men write their copy for the benefit of you folks at home. The let-up pitch is outside. Full count now on Campanella. The respect with which they hold Campy, despite his low batting average, induced, of course, by his sore hand, is indicated by the carefulness with which Whitey Ford is pitching to him. He's got great power to left center. It's only .365 here. Another high foul out of play. Ford changed up on him that time with a slow curve, had him a little off stride. The official scores at the game today: Ed McCauley of the Cleveland News, president of the Baseball Writers Association of America, Frank Gibbons of the Cleveland Press, and Tom Swope, baseball authority of the Cincinnati Post. High inside, ball 4. Whitey Ford issues his first pass. Campanella becomes the National League second base runner. And here comes Robin Roberts up to bat. Robin Roberts is a switch hitter. Therefore, will bat right-handed against the left-hand pitching of Whitey Ford. He's had 6 out of 60 this season. 1 out, 1 on. Bunt. Ford plays it to first base to Rosen, but it hit him in foul territory, and he's being called back by Eddie Rommel. We thought it had bounced off his body and then rolled out in front of the plate. But we had to wait till the umpires call it. Now here comes Casey Stengel out of the dugout to check with Rommel. If the ball hit the batter in foul territory and then rolled out, it's a dead ball. If it hit him in fair territory, he'd be out. And now Eddie Rommel's going to ask Lee Ballantyne of the National League how he saw it. They both saw it the same. One of the toughest plays for an umpire to call back of the plate is the half swing or the bunt, where the ball will skip off the bat, hit the ground and bounce up and hit the player, or skip off the bat and hit the player's body even before hitting the ground. It becomes a question then whether it hit the body before rolling into fair territory or whether it hit his body in fair territory. If it hit him in foul territory, it's just a strike. In fair territory, he'd be out, hit by his own batted ball. Nice bunt. Boone plays it to Chico. Beautiful play by Ray Boone to get the front runner. I say this with full respect for Roy Campanella. He's not the fastest man on the squad, which gave Boone an opportunity, which he played well as he took a look and made his play to Chico to knock off the front runner. The attempted sacrifice by Roberts results in the force-outed second of Campanella. Boone to Carrascal. Robin Roberts on first base, 2 down. First half, the third inning. National League nothing, the American League nothing, and the batter is Granny Hamner of the Philadelphia Phillies. A high pop to Carrascal. And the side is retired. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. And so at the middle of the third inning, the score is National League nothing, American League nothing. Last half of the third inning, Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, the 21st Annual All-Star Game. Minnie Minoso, the hitter. Foul ball down the first baseline, caught nicely by Coach Freddie Hutchinson, Tiger manager. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to take just a second to say hello to one of the greatest ball players that ever donned a uniform. A member of the Hall of Fame, a great Cleveland player and manager, Tris Speaker. Foul back. Last night, Tris fell victim to a light heart attack. He's in Lakeside Hospital here in Cleveland, but he's well enough to be looking at the ball game, and we all send him our very best wishes for a rapid recovery. The Gray Eagle, what a guy. Look out, Minnie. High. 1 ball, 2 strikes. High and inside. Ball 2, 2-2. That was quite a club he had, wasn't it, Gene Kelly?
Well, Steve, he'll be looking in today. He won't be here, but he wishes he was. That's the catcher. You ought to see that picture of him in the press room, Mel.
He looked young then when he was catching for Cleveland. High and inside is a curveball. Full count now on Minnie Minoso, who in the first inning flied to center. Minnie's in the leadoff spot for the American League All-Stars. Robin Roberts getting himself set. High, and he walks, ball 4. The outfield is just about straight away. A high foul coming back out of play. It was Minoso. Hit and run. The ball is fouled down the first baseline. Drive base hit. Minoso stops at second. They weren't running him. Mickey Mantle is now being called back to the dugout. Casey Stengel wants to talk to him over in front of the American League dugout, which is the home dugout of the Cleveland Indians when they're here. Casey talking to Mickey Mantle. There's a strike, a good fastball over the outside corner. Strike 3, and he struck him out. High outside, ball 1. High foul, Date down the right field line, right over into the corner. Musial goes over. The ball is foul, but into the stands. But of course, he hits a lot of them fair too. Manny Minoso on second, Avila on first. They're both very fast. Foul back. Yogi went after a high fastball. He is known as a notorious bad ball hitter. And they kid him around the American League that the only way to get Barrios is to throw one down the middle. His boyhood idol was Joe Medwick, who also was a notorious bad ball hitter. Out of play, foul ball. Of the National League record, or the All-Star game record, of most strikeouts in a game by a pitcher, 6, which Carl Hubbell set in 1934, Johnny Vandermeer in 43, and Jansen in 1950. He's had 4. The high hopper, fair ball down to Kozuski. Steps on first. Barra's out, moving Minoso to third. Avila to second, and up comes Al Rosen, a favorite of the Cleveland crowd. Rosen struck out in the first inning, and as our cameraman magnificently brought to you a close-up of the index finger of the right hand, which he fractured and which he's protecting, cannot grip the bat with it, comes up with runners on second and third, no score, 2 outs, third inning. Out of play, upstairs, strike 1. There's Al. You'll notice when he grips that bat, that index finger of the right hand points out. He just can't grip the bat with it, and of course that cuts down on his hitting ability. But the spotlight right now is on a guy named Robin Roberts. There's a high drive going deep to left center field, and it's going, and it's gone. In favor of the American League as Al Rosen gets his first All-Star game hit, and it's a home run. Ray Boone takes high. Well, maybe there's a fella who doesn't need all his fingers to hit. Ball 2. One of the reasons, ladies and gentlemen, why Al Rosen was voted the most valuable player in the American League last year. There's another one going deep to left center field. It is going, it is going. Hank Bauer, the batter, high and inside. 4-0 American League. Ray Boone in his first All-Star game, and they're jumping in Detroit. And Boone, of course, thrilled this crowd because he started out with the Cleveland Indians. There's a nice strike over the outside corner, 1-1. Back-to-back homers by Al Rosen and Ray Boone. And therein lies the story, too. Foul back. Ray Boone played shortstop for the Indians, succeeding Lou Boudreau. Al Rosen was the third baseman. It was pretty tough for Ray to supplant Rosen. So he was traded to the Tigers, put on third base, and reached Major League stardom. Out of play upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gene, I have an idea. This All-Star game may very well turn into be one of those old-fashioned Donnebrooks before it's over. Strike 3. Struck him out on a curve. 5 strikeouts for Roberts. 4 runs for the American League. 3 hits, including back-to-back homers by Rosen with 2 on, Boone with none on. No National League errors, no one left on base. And so at the end of the 3rd inning, the score is American League 4, National League nothing.
To look sharp, yes, your very best. To feel sharp all the livelong day. Just be sharp and skim whiskers off in the quick, refreshing Gillette way.
Your 3-inning totals, the American League, 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors, 3 left on. The National League, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. And now coming in to do the pitching for the American League, after Whitey Ford turned in a fine 3-inning stint, during which he gave up only 1 hit, walked 1, no strikeouts, no runs allowed, is Sandy Consuegra. Consuegra came into the American League with the Washington Senators. His contract was traded to the Chicago White Sox.
Not on the roster.
Sandy Consuegra, whose full name is Sandalio Simeon Consuegra, born in Portillo, La Villas, Cuba, in 1920. He's won 10 and lost 3 for the Chicago White Sox. Pitching out Alvin Dark as we go to the top of the 4th. Strike 1. Ball 1, 1-1. High inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. There's a looping fly ball in the center. Mantle coming fast and makes the catch. Alvin Dark, who had popped out to Carrascal in the 1st inning, is retired by Mickey Mantle. From Linwood, California. Over the outside part of the plate for a called strike. Snyder flied to left field in the 1st inning. There's a hot shot back through the middle into center for the base hit. Mickey Mantle fielding the ball and returning it to Bobby Avila. While Duke Snyder had appeared in 3 previous All-Star games, this is his first All-Star hit. Four to nothing, American League, first half of the 4th inning. High foul out of play, strike 1. The American League has its starting team in there. They had to play them 3 innings as voted by the fans. Minoso in left, Mantle in center, Bauer in right. Boone 3rd, Carrascal short, Avila 2nd, Rosen first, Barrow back to the plate. The only change is the pitcher, Consuegra, who's just now come on. By Rosen to right field. Snyder around second. He's going to third as Bauer up for the ball, throws back into Avila. Snyder stops at third, and now the National League is on the warpath. Stan Musial, whom you might almost say is a perennial National League batting champion, though he lost out in that regard last year. He's won it 6 times. Gets his second hit, his 13th All-Star game hit, and there is Mr. Muscle stepping up. Ted Kluszewski. Long ball hitting first baseman of the Cincinnati Redlegs. Strike one, fouls it back. Ted wrapped into a double play in the second inning. Avila to Carrasquel to Rosen. Ted used that mass of muscles playing football at Indiana at one time. The high bouncer, and it is a fair ball down the right field line. Snyder scores. Musial races to third. Bauer throws back to Rosen, and Kluszewski's on at first, and it's 4-1. Scoring Snyder, sending Musial to third. And now the batter is Ray Jablonski, who grounded out in the second inning, the shortstop Chico Carrasquel. From Chicago, Illinois. The outfield shades him a little toward left, center left, straightaway right. One out. Just outside for a ball. Low. Ball 2. On first. Strike. There's a base hit. Mantle holds Kluszewski at second as Musial scores, and it's 4-2. The National League slugging back. And now Leo DeRocher is talking to Jackie Robinson, whom he once managed. Jackie grounded to short in the third inning. It's a high pop foul, and it may be out of play. Rosen digs over, and the ball is out of play, just behind the American League dugout. Another foul out of play to the right of the plate. There's a drive right in between them in the right center field. Kluszewski scores to make it 4-3. Here comes Jablonski rounding third, digs for the plate. Here comes the throw. He scores. Tie ball game. 2-base hit for Robinson. And Casey Stengel is coming out of the dugout. Jackie Robinson getting his second double in All-Star Game competition and driving in his third and fourth runs in All-Star Game competition. This being his 6th game. And Bob Lemon of the Cleveland Indians gets the nod, and when he is announced, the Cleveland crowd, of course, they've already started to applaud him as they see him coming. They're standing up. Bob Lemon, who is in all respects a big league guy. The opposition always respects him as a performer and as a gentleman. Sandy Consuegra went 1/3 of an inning. Allowed 4 straight singles and a double, a total of 5 hits. And Bob Lemon is now coming in to replace him. Swigler getting a hands, he leads. About 2 weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps a little more, Bob Lemon started a game against the New York Yankees. He had to leave the game early because of an injury to his sacroiliac, which had the further result of extending down into his right leg. And he was unable to pitch for a long while over that period until last Sunday, when he worked against the Chicago White Sox, but left the game around the fifth inning, not because of the injury, but because he had a little altercation with an umpire. Roy Campanella comes to the plate with the score tied at 4-4 as the National League has slugged back magnificently to overcome the 4-0 deficit which the American League piled against them in the last of the third. So the potential tie-breaking run is in scoring position on second base, and Campanella at the plate. Ball one inside. Bob Lemon has a good fastball, a good curve, a good sinker, good changeup. From Long Beach, California. The high pop toward third. Boone shading his eyes from the sun. Fair ball, and he catches it. It was right on the line, but the umpire at third, Bill Stewart, called it fair. And now Don Mueller of the New York Giants is going to come up to hit for the pitcher.
Your second please. Number 22 of the New York Giants, Don Mueller. Batting for Robert.
Don Mueller, who currently owns a .356 batting average in regular National League play, is not generally considered to be a long ball hitter. He's only had one homer. But a hitter, as .356 would indicate. Batting for Robin Roberts. Score tied 4-4. First half of the fourth inning. Don Mueller of St. Louis, Missouri. Right fielder of the New York Giants. Low inside, ball one. Third base for the Phillies, and then became a great pitcher, as has Lemon. There's a drive out to right center field. Bauer racing hard. He can't get it. Robinson rounds third, comes in to score. Mueller doubles, and the National League leads 5-4. Pop to short. Ball one, low outside. Breaking stuff had him fooled. You're seeing the best, and they're showing their best advantage. A high hopper to Boone. To Rosen, in time. The sides are tired. 5 runs for the National League in a tremendous onslaught. 6 hits. No American League errors. 1 left on for the National League. And so at the middle of the fourth inning, the score is National League 5, American League 4. Field is Willie Mays, who has been playing sensational ball for the New York Giants, with Duke Snider having moved over to right field. So Willie Mays out in center, and he gets a hand. Duke Snider has moved over to right field. Stan Musial, who was in right, has moved over to left. So the National League outfield now, Musial in left, Mays in center, and Snyder in right. And all I can say about an outfield like that is, how about that? Johnny Antonelli's pitch is looped out into left, and it's in there. Chico Carrascal singles to left field to start the last of the fourth inning. The boys are spraying them around today, aren't they, Gene? Ted Williams coming out of the American League dugout to hit for Bob Lemon. Ted Williams appearing in his 10th All-Star game. He's had 11 out of 27 for a .407 All-Star game average. Strike one from Johnny Antonelli. By the way, I happened to bump into Johnny Antonelli's daddy in the stands, and he's mighty proud of his boys, you can well imagine. Johnny lives in Medford, Massachusetts, from upstate New York originally. High inside, ball one. Casey Stengel setting up a left-hand hitter to bat against a left-hand pitcher. But it's just not an ordinary left-hand hitter. It's Ted Williams, one of the all-time great hitters of baseball. Fouled off the plate. 1-1. Robin Roberts went 3 innings, allowed 5 hits, walked 2, struck out 5, gave up 4 runs. And Johnny Antonelli, who has been a big gun in the Giants' drive for a pennant flag, on the mound. Inside. Crowd sort of oohed and awed for Ted taking that one. He's got an eagle eye. Five to 4 National League, last of the fourth inning. Carrascal on first with a single, the American League's 6th hit. Strike 3, struck him out. Struck him out on a curveball. Now coming up is Minnie Minosa, while over in the American League bullpen, warming up, is the great right-hander of the Washington Senators, Bob Porterfield. Minosa flied to center and walked. Ball one outside. That was a screwball, which Johnny Antonelli has come up with this year. The Giants acquired his contract from the Milwaukee Braves over the winter in the Bobby Thompson deal. There's a liner to right center field. Willie Mays cuts it off with bare hand beautifully, but going into third is Carrascal. But I'll say one thing, Willie's great cutoff kept Chico from coming all the way around and kept Minosa from going for 2 bases. The batter now is Bobby Avila, who's had 2 for 2. Both teams have now had 7 hits. National League leading 5-4, last of the fourth inning. National League infield a double play depth. Ball one low. In there for a strike. There's a drive to left field. Musial makes the catch. Here comes Chico. And the throw instead goes to second base as Chico scores the tying run. Under the revived rule, that is a sacrifice fly, and Avila is not charged with a time at bat, and thus maintains his perfect average for the afternoon at 2-2. Mickey Mantle, who's a switch hitter, will bat right-handed against Antonelli, but Marty Marion wants to talk to him for a moment. The Gillette Safety Razor Company is delighted to bring you this 21st Major League All-Star game, and it is a thriller. Up to now, I'd say it compares with any of them. Manny Minosa's on first base, 2 down. 5-5 the score. High, ball 1, fastball. Mantle flied to center and struck out. Let-up pitch is swung on and missed. There's a screwball, as a matter of fact. It actually was a changeup off his fastball, but he used the screwball to accomplish it. Breaks away from a right-hand hitter. Jablonski to Klazuski, and the side is retired. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left on. At the end of 4 innings of play, 5-5. The National League's 5 in the top of the 4th is the National League's largest scoring inning in history. The American Leagues, we told you earlier, in the second All-Star game had a 6-run inning. The 4 inning totals: National League, 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 2 left on. American League, 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors, and 4 men left on base. There have been some high-scoring games. The American League won the second game of this series 9-7, and then they won in 1937 in Washington 8-3. American League won 7-5 in 1941 in Detroit when Ted Williams hit the 3-run homer in the last of the 9th inning with 2 outs to turn a National League 5-4 win into a 7-5 American League victory. And of course, the largest score was the 12-0 American League win over the National League at Boston in 1946. Ted Williams has gone out to left field, and it was Ted who that year hit 2 homers, including hitting one off Rip Sewell's blooper pitch, which had never been ever done before. In 1949, the American League beat the National League 11-7, and then the National League won in 1951 8-3. So this vies favorably with some of the largest scoring games. Now the changes for the American League. Ted Williams, as we point out to you, is in left field. Mantle's in center. Minnie Minosa has moved over to right field in place of Bauer. We have Boone still at third. Carrasquel at short. Avila at second. Rosen still at first. Berra back to the plate, and Bob Porterfield is on the mound. Since Williams hit for Consuegra, the pitcher, and stays in the game, he will have to bat 9th in the order. Therefore, the pitcher must take the only spot open, which is Hank Bowers, 6th in the order. Alvin Dark takes inside from Bob Porterfield. Low, ball 2, Virginia originally. There's a fastball in there for a strike. Time. Low, ball 3. 3-1. The drive to deep center. Mantle's out there. 1 away. The National League batted around the 4th inning. Dark flied to Mantle to start the inning, and then the National League broke loose with 4 straight singles and a double, and after the next out, another double to get 5 runs and move ahead 5-4, but the American League tied it up in the last of the 4th, so it's 5-5 as we play in the 5th. And here is Duke Snyder. Flied to left and started the National League off to their 5-run splurge in the last of the 4th with a single to center. Fastball away. Ball one. Foul back. Strike one. 1-1. Avila can't get it. Gave it a good try. Single to right field. Duke Snyder starts him off again with a single to right, with Bobby Avila giving it a good try. And here is Stan the Man Musial, 2 for 2. 2 singles to right field. Musial, who is the only player on either side appearing in his 11th All-Star game, has had 13 All-Star hits. Started out this game with a .324 average for All-Star competition. There's a strike. A pop into short left, which Carrasquel drifts back for. Snyder retreats to first base. And up comes Ted Kluszewski. Musial has appeared in more All-Star games than any other player in the history of the Classic. This is his 11th. And when I say that, I mean actually participating in them. Kluszewski's had 1 for 2, grounded to second into a double play in the second inning, single to right in the fourth. There's a high drive going to deep right field. That ball, Minosa is out there, is going, it's gone. Kluszewski blasting one over the right field screen to send the National League out in front 7-5. Scoring Snyder ahead of him. That's his first All-Star game homer. A towering drive it was. Ray Jablonski up. A high hopper to third. Boom to Rosen. And the side is retired. 2 runs for the National League, 2 hits. No errors for the American League, nobody left on. And so at the middle of the 5th inning, the score is the National League 7, the American League 5. The Philadelphia Phillies during the regular season, amiable Gene Kelly.
Thanks very much, Mel. A couple of switches in the infield for the National League. Randy Jackson of the Chicago Cubs at third base. And the great Red Schoendienst of the St. Louis Cardinals is now playing second. The rest of the defense remains the same, and this is Berra. Well, they don't look for the bunt from Yogi very frequently, and of course Jackson, fresh in the ball game, probably was the last one to appreciate that. Foul, strike one. So Spot Schoendienst, if you're keeping score, in the leadoff slot in place of Hamner at second, and Ransom Jackson of the Cubs at third. He'll be batting number 6. A line smash to left center. Musial fields it, and the relay man is Dark. This is a free-hitting, free-wheeling affair, and they've all been solid senders. There hasn't been a tainted hit in the lot today. The hits now are 8 for the American League and 9 for the National. And Yogi picks up his second All-Star hit in his 6th ball game. Opposite field single. Rosen, whose home run early vaulted the American League into a lead and was backed up by Boone's smash to almost exactly the same spot. Strike one. Tight hook. This kid has come up with a screwball, as Mel told you, for the first time this year, and oddly enough, a right-hander helped him with a screwball. Marv Grissom, who may or may not see action today. Yes, there's the genial Huckleberry Finn of baseball that you just saw, Schoendienst. 2-1. Boston Billy Stewart is operating with a partially fractured left arm off a foul tip by Johnny Wyrostek of the Phillies at Milwaukee on the 20th of June. It's just about healed now. This is his 4th All-Star. Call. 2-1. Hey, watch this one. All the way into the stands. Consecutive home runs by Flip Rosen. And if these Cleveland fans see nothing else today, they've seen their hero tie up the ball game after early sending them into the lead. Consecutive home runs, which equals a record set by Ted Williams. 7-7 the score. And this is Boone, who homered behind Rosen's round tripper to left center in the third inning. But that was the daddy of them all. Of all the homers today, of which there have been 4. Turner. Nice fielding play by Ransom Jackson. Third to first the play. One away in the 5th inning. Now that record again has been tied by Rosen, who was first set by Vaughn of the National League in 1941 and Williams in 1946. And this has not only been a home run derby, but a free hitting derby. There have been singles, doubles, and home runs. And the area out there is certainly set up for triples, too. It's all tied up again, and what a game this has turned out to be. Porterfield, who bats in Bauer's place because Williams was the pinch hitter earlier. That was a solid drive, but of course right back to Musial in left field. 2 gone. Now the runs are even, and the hits are even. Now here's Chico. This flip fielding Venezuelan is 1 for 2. He singled against Antonelli in the 4th inning. Now, Rosen's job also ties a previous record of most runs batted in by a single player in a game. Williams batted home 5 in 1946. Rosen, of course, 2 homers, producing 5 of the 7 runs for the American League today. 0-1 to Chico. A ball. The crowd is getting a great big kick out of Williams's, or Stewart's loud calls. Boston Billy. He leaves no doubt when he calls him. Slow hook. 1-2. And he's definitely out of there. That's the second strikeout racked up by Johnny Antonelli. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. And so at the end of the 5th inning of play here at Cleveland, the score, the American League 7, the National League 7. Is checking on Archie Vaughan's homers, which he tells me were in succession. His first came in the 7th off Sid Hudson, and after Enos Slaughter had singled and taken an extra base on Williams' fumble. Then in the 8th, Archie did it again, driving a homer into the upper right field stands after the big Cat Mize had doubled off the right field screen. That made the score at the time National 5, American 2. That was back in 1941 at Briggs Stadium in Detroit. Willie, the Amazing Mays. This is his first time up, and what he has done for the New York Giants this season goes without saying. His home run pace of 31 is ahead of the late Babe Ruth's at this stage. From Fairfield, close to Birmingham, Alabama. A service returnee. Strike 1. Hook wide, a ball. He has added weight and strength. When we asked today how come he's improved his hitting to such an extent, he was about a 270 hitter back in 1951 when the Giants won that classic pennant. That Rosen hasn't played very much first base, but I'll tell you, he's really given it the college try today. And I imagine that 90% of these fans here today just can't take their eyes off him, considering, too, that he's still favoring that forefinger. Well, Campanella with his bad hand has been hitting recently, of course not today, but Rosen is the big story with a Mace. 1-2 on Mays. Hey, watch this one. Williams has the range, but very, very close. Now, that footage out there would be approximately 350. Remembering, as we had gone over the park earlier, that the fence joins the concrete out there at an odd juncture. And actually, the distance is shorter in comparatively shallow left center than it is in that corner. One away. Now, Campanella, who has the record for catching consecutive innings before today, and of course he'll add to it. Porterfield, the pitcher. Campy 0 for 1, a walk. Low hook, a ball. 1-1. The National League has used two pitchers, and they may well go to a third. Number 21 over there, you can just see the peak of his cap. Southpaw, Warren Spahn. The American League, Ford, Consuegra, Lemon, and Porterfield. One gone, 1-1 on Campy. 2-1. Porterfield's record for the Senators this year has been 9-7, earned run mark of 2.61. I wonder if you noticed that Campanella lost grip that time. He has thrown the bat, not purposely, of course, on a lot of full cuts. And the third baseman had best be on the lookout. 2-2. Both clubs are vying with another record, which they may well yet hit. This is only the fifth inning, and 14 runs have come across, but 18 is the record in 1949 at Brooklyn. American League 11, National League 7. Campy goes to the opposite field, and it's a single to right center, Mickey Mantle fielding. That's the 10th hit for the National League, and Campanella's first.
Number 15 for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Frank Thomas.
Now, this is Pittsburgh's only representative today. A young, strong outfielder who was born, reared, and plays in Pittsburgh, Frank Thomas, a 25-year-old long ball hitting youngster of Lithuanian ancestry. Now, that's a crash helmet he's wearing. You'll see very few of them here today, but the whole Pittsburgh club wears them. They started it last year on an edict from Mr. Rickey. He took the place of Ralph Kiner, who was second in the voting. He's hitting at .304 with 43 RBIs for a last-place club. He's batting for Antonelli. 6'3", 200. Frank Thomas. There are a lot of Pittsburghers here today watching this kid. 0-2. A ball. The great George Sisler, who of course never had the opportunity of playing in an all-star game, doctored this kid's hitting style. Time is called. Spahn had been throwing to Rube Walker in the bullpen. Number 21. And Walker is the batting practice and bullpen catcher today, and ball rolled on the field, as you just saw. 1-2. He's out. A blazer right down there. And Big Porterfield gets his first strikeout victim. Now, this game began as if we were going to see a classic pitchers duel between Ford and Roberts. And then Rosen and Boone crashed through with thunderous home runs over the left center field screen in the third inning. Now, Red Schoendienst, perhaps the most underrated great ball player of recent years for the Cardinals, a switch hitter and a hero of previous play. The kid from Germantown, Illinois, right near St. Louis. Freckle face, carrot top, 6 foot, 168, now lives in St. Louis, 31 years of age, and has been in 6 previous games. 2 for 11, but the big one, well, you can't forget that 1950 home run. A twister. Williams grabs it off, and the National League is retired in the top of the 6th inning with no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on. And so, at the middle of the 6th inning, the score, the National League 7, the American League 7. Now let's pause 10 seconds for station identification.
This is Channel 4, WWJ-TV, the Detroit News, Michigan's first television station.
Your attention, please. Number 21.
Warren Spahn, one of the great moderns of the pitching department in the National League of the Milwaukee Braves. He's been in 3 previous games, started 1, pitched a total of 5 1/3 innings, allowing 4 runs, 4 hits, none earned, 4 walks, has won 1 and lost none in all-star play. Facing the kid. Oh, and Spahn and Antonelli had been teammates, of course, last year. Remember, Antonelli fanned Ted in the 4th inning. 1-0. There are a lot of beans and scrod involved in this drama. Spahn had a place of business in Boston, played there for years. Williams, of course, still plays there. Stewart, the umpire, lives there. On the banks of the Charles and the James. Hello, Boston. 2-0. 3-0. Would you say he's worried about Ted? He walked him. Williams got nothing good at all. That's the 3rd walk allowed the junior circuit today. Roberts had issued earlier 2 walks, which was an oddity for him, but he did fan 5, coming 1 shy of the all-time record set by Carl Hubble. Oso, who's been on twice with a walk and a sharp single. He scored on Rosen's first homer in the 3rd. 1 for 2. Now that move you just saw is one of the cutest in the major leagues. He has that move down pat. Born in Buffalo, now a rancher in Hartshorn, Oklahoma. Infield halfway. Spahn used to be one of those Burnham Bayou guys. He still can throw very hard, but he's picked up more than several varied speeds in the last 3 or 4 years when it used to be Spahn and Sane and pray for rain. Cleveland should well remember this fellow in 1948. Beautifully spotted to right field. Williams is on his way to 3rd. Here comes the peg. Cut off. Manoso beautifully punched the ball as it hung up an outside hook right through the hole to right field. And once and again, the American League is in a threat. There have been runners on for the AL in every inning of this ball game, and the National League can say the same, but for the first. The score tied 7-7. That's the 10th hit for the American League, evening that department as well as the runs. And Avila, who's been a big hitting star today in his own bailiwick, 2 for 2, a sacrifice fly, and he batted in the 5th run with a sacrifice in the 4th, is the batter. Second baseman. Strike 1. tick foul. Strike two. That hit the dirt about 6 inches ahead of the plate. Ball one. Again. The throw to third. He is out. Musial tried a shoestring, and it sank too much in a hurry for Stan. But the run comes across, and the American League jumps ahead again, 8-7. Avila gets his third hit in 3 official appearances at the plate today, and his second RBI. And the Indians have really had a field day today. Choctaw, Chickasaw, Chattahoochee, Chippewa, Rosen, and Avila. Minoso is out, left fielder Musial to third baseman Jackson. But Spahn hasn't done it by himself yet. A walk and 2 hits. Now Mantle batting right-handed. Ball one. A very fine decoy by Dark. But the runner, Avila, belly hops back in there. DeRocher, who apparently is having much to do with the rotation of pitchers, is signaling somebody to crank up out there in left field. That was a fine decoy by Dark, and just as fine a head-first return by Avila to second base. It goes as a single. It's the third straight hit off Spahn, and the 12th of the game for the American League, which leads 8-7 and 1 away, and that on a hit. Mantle's speed, of course, was reckoned with by Dark. Marv Grissom warming up. Marv Grissom. Runners hold. There's another problem that Campanella has been faced with in recent weeks because of his hand, although he'll decoy a lot of times on a ball thrown into the dirt. Berra takes ball one. Yogi is 1 for 2 officially, a walk and a run scored. Oh, he cut from the hill in St. Louis that time. 1-1. Now is the old side wheel over crossfire. And the Gillette radio crew had an opportunity that time and couldn't quite hold on. Big Al Helfer working with Jimmy Dudley, Cleveland broadcaster. Second base runner broke. Avila's going to have to return at Schoendienst. And note how the redhead played the sun and pivoted. Now listen. Funny thing about Rosen, there was a story just this morning that he was going to be all right to play, and he's playing an abnormal position for Al. He's just recently been returned to third base. And what a day he's had. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. 2 gone, 2 on. On every move, on every cut, on every reflex, the crowd just sits with this guy on the edge of its seats. One and 1. Strike 2. It appeared as though he was trying to go to right field, which is the kind of a ball player he is. 2-2. Still alive at 2-2. 2-2. Now we'll have to wait on a decision. Base hit. Base hit. A broken bat, twisting, high hopper off the chest of Jackson. And now Alston is taking his first walk out to the mound for the first time today. Here's a fellow thrust into an odd and hot spot. Gresson having departed to Oakland, he took over, and with the assistance of Grimm and DeRocher. But he's the head man today, Walt Alston. School teacher from close to Miami University in Ohio. Right near Hamilton. Now with the sacks loaded, In comes Marvin Grissom, who has staged one of the great comebacks in this national pastime in 1954. A 36-year-old grizzled veteran who's been around, formerly of the American League. White Sox and Red Sox.
Of the New York Giants, Marv Grissom. Now pitching. Marv Grissom.
Now the situation here is 2 out in the 6th inning. The American League already has come across with one, as Avila, who has teamed with Rosen to provide the biggest punch today, batted in the 1 lead run. Spahn will have gotten credit for pitching just 2/3 of an inning. So far, he's allowed 1 run, 4 hits, and he has walked 1. And one of the outs was converted from a hit by Musial to third baseman Jackson. Now, Grissom has been around the American League long enough to pretty well know most of these hitters. Boone is 1 for 3, the home run off Roberts. Grissom is the brother of the former Cincinnati Red Leg left-hander of years back, Lee Grissom. 1-1. Could be trouble. Look at that Mays roll. Basket catch. Side retired. 1 run. 4 hits. No errors. 3 left on base. Here are the 6 inning totals on the Gillette scoreboard. The American League, 8 runs, 13 hits, no errors, and 7 left on. The National League, 7 runs, 10 hits, no errors, and 3 men left on. A ball. This fellow was very tough to play. He was a great football player for Louisiana State. And he'll go to right field on you very frequently. Change low, ball 2, 2-0. Barrow stayed with it. And Dark is out of there. 1 away. Ball 1. 2-0. Strike called. Keegan has taken 2-2. That's what I mean, and it's going to be trouble for Williams. Snyder digging for 2. And he's in there standing up with his 3rd straight hit. And it's the 11th hit for the National League. Sky high. That's Avila. 2 gone. Porterfield issued a good change of pace pitch on that cut, who has batted in 3 runs for the National League with a single and a home run. The only right field home run. 1-1. Just as bad as Pazuski will look on a pitch like that. That's the time to get out the caution light. Sizzler. Rosen trapped it for a second, and they get out of the 7th. Does the American League. First base unassisted. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on. At the end of 6.5 innings, at the middle of the 7th inning, the score, the American League 8, the National League 7. 1,751, just 1,061 short of the all-time record set 19 years ago. Screwball to a left-handed batter. Had the right hook. Side retired in order for the first time in the game. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. And so, at the end of the 7th inning, the score is the American League 8, the National League 7. Jackson from Lawton, Oklahoma. A great recovery by Chico Carrascal because Jackson can run pretty well. And he still got him after kicking the ball around. 1 away. That may be a big break in this ball game because every runner on now means either insurance for the American League or a possible tie for the National League. Base hit, and Mantle almost charged too hard as he hung it on his belt buckle. That's the 12th hit for the National League. High and tight. Fastball got him. 2 gone. Now a pinch hitter. Gus Bell from Louisville, Kentucky, and the Cincinnati Redlegs, who has come into his own in the last 2 years as an established major leaguer. And Cincinnati will be going wild. Gus Bell repeats what his heavy-hitting teammate had done earlier. Ted Kluszewski homering with 1 on, and the National League now leads 9-8. And have you ever seen one like this one? Schoendienst. Redhead is 0 for 1, fly to left in the 6th. Now everything is happening. That is the first error in an otherwise freewheeling ball game. With all this hitting, 13 hits apiece, 17 runs. That's the first bobble of the ball game. Minnie Minoso in right field. For a moment, it looked as though neither Fox nor Minoso were sure which one was going to take it. That is a 2-base error. Dark, 0 for 4. Might be a hit, might be a fielder's choice. Base hit. Base hit. Now that's probably the most peculiar hit of the whole ball game. A high, twisting, old-fashioned Baltimore chop. And Boone wasn't certain whether he could get the fleet Dark at first, and here comes Casey. This all began with 1 away, Jackson rolling out to third, and then Mays laced a single to center. Campanella was fanned on some good fast pitches by Keegan, and Gus Bell stepped in there and laced a tremendous smash over the right center field fence, some 380 feet away from the plate, as a pinch hitter. That vaulted the National League into the lead. Minoso dropped Schoendienst's twisting short fly to right, and Dark grounded a ball to third, which was played by Boone on the runner, but it was scored as a hit. So, officially, Keegan's record will read for the time being 2 runs, 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning, and the inning isn't over, of course, as yet. The 2 runners on are chargeable to him. An error has got him in this trouble. Dara Dean Stone had a late-season trial with the Nationals last summer, getting into 3 ball games, losing 1, and pitched in 28 games for Chattanooga, winning 8 and losing 10. But he's come along as well as any of the young hurlers in the American League this year. He has a good winning record for a club in the 2nd Division. He's won 7, lost 2, and his earned run mark is 3.47. Stone, whose right first handle is spelled D-A-R-R-A-H, is 6'4", 205, a lot of leverage there. Born in Moline, Illinois. Stone, and there was a hitch. Now Alston comes out to lend his squawk to the situation. And would you say that neither league doesn't want to win this ball game? Here is the first outright real rhubarb of the game for the National League. And the rookie out there, playing both Grimm and DeRocha, look at them jaw. And he hitched his motion, but Schoendienst is called out by Stewart, stealing. That's the pitcher to the catcher. In the 8th inning, 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left on. And so in the middle of the 8th inning, the score: the National League 9, the American League 8. Now we have a lot of switches here, but none on the outfield. There is one at first base in Gil Hodges, the great slugger for the Dodgers. The new catcher is Smokey Burgess, which thus breaks Campanella's consecutive streak of innings caught in all-star games in Forrest Harold Smokey Burgess from Burnt Chimney, North Carolina, and the Phillies. Cavalera had caught the last 44 innings for the National League, and thus catching 7 today, has an all-time record of 51 consecutive innings caught in all-star play. Burgess, by the way, will lend left-handed power if he gets to that in the 9th inning. Conley is the new pitcher. Gene Conley, born in Muskogee, Oklahoma. 23 year older. And he has looked very good for Grimm this season. Minoso and Larry Doby has come out of the American League dugout with Virgil Trucks warming up for the American League. This is do or die now. Minoso is 2 for 3. Jim Wilson going to the National League bullpen. That's Trucks. Wilson of no-hit fame and Trucks of no-hit fame. There's Jumbo Jim, Milwaukee right-hander, number 19. Conley has won 7, lost 4. 6, 8.5. 2-1. A big baby-faced former basketball star from out Washington State way. Dark elected to take that short hop, realizing that Minoso can fly down that line. 1 away. Now, Larry Doby, listen. Stars in his 6th All-Star game and has had 2 hits and 9 trips. Larry Doby, normally an outfielder, batting for Keegan. 1-1. Doby. Strike 2. Trouble. Beyond description. Absolutely beyond description. It ties the record for home runs in a game by 2 clubs. 6 in 1951, National League of Detroit. It's all tied up. Mantle batting left-handed this time. Mantle has batted left-handed against Roberts in the 1st and 3rd. Right-handed against Antonelli in the 4th. And Spawn in the 6th. 1-1. 9-9. 18 runs, 28 hits. And notice an opposite field home run for the left-hander. And how many times in history have 2 pinch hitters clubbed out home runs in such situations? One to vault the club into the lead, 9-8, the other to tie, Bell and Doby respectively. Even up, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on, last of the 8th, and she's all tied up as tight as a drum. 9-9. Ball 3. Mickey went for a bad ball. That was down around his toes. Grass cutter for the 15th American League hit and the 29th of the ball game. And here comes Yogi behind his teammate, Vera. Vera is 1 for 3. with a walk thrown in. Well, if Lake Erie is the place to come to, and that's Wilson warming up, number 19. Also Carl Erskine, number 17. Rosen on deck. 0-2. Cleveland has certainly weighed in with its share today. Rosen, Avila, and Doby. One ball, two strikes. In case you missed out, and I don't see how you could have with the kind of a game this is today, that is Burgess catching, number 21. One and two. Trucks all the while, number 11 for the American League, and the White Sox warming up in right field. And there's Verge looking over the situation. One ball, two strikes. Decoy by Musial, but it's a hit. Here's the irony of this ball game. This has been truly an Indian fight. Spahn was hit hard, and Antonelli is a former Brave. He was hit hard, and now Conley, he's a Brave. And the Indians of Cleveland, Rosen, Avila, Doby, and Lemon. Lemon, of course, was not charged with any runs scored, even though he did give up a hit in his two-thirds of innings pitched. 3 for 4 for Al. Time. Note Conley's odd follow-through. They've taught him to stay on balance because of that tremendous height of his. Both Wilson and Erskine throwing very hard in the bullpen. 2-0. Eight of the 9 runs of the American League have been driven in by Clevelanders today. And Boone, a former Clevelander, drove in the other one. Ball 3. So one-out situation. And Rosen undoubtedly is checking on a relay signal from Stengel to Marion as to whether to get the green light on a cut. The take was on, 3-1. This ties a record of most runs by both clubs in a game. 18 in 1949 at Brooklyn. American League 11, National League 7. Case checking his defense. Strike 2. And you'll note that Rosen made no effort to lurch toward first. Full count. Will they break with 1 out? Don't forget Mantles at second. He can fly. Berra at first. Infield halfway. Outfield deep straight away. They break. But he lost him. The bases are loaded. And with it all, there have not been very many walks. Now, Boone is getting the word from Stengel in the American League side dugout. He walked into the dugout as if not to hit. And, of course, Case may go to his bench. Yep, Mickey Vernon. Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania Mickey. And here comes Alston out on the mound. Well, Mel, I must call you in now because this has to be the greatest game of all. I know you've seen 13 previous or 14 previous. What do you say?
It certainly is the greatest from the standpoint of spectator excitement because there has been something doing every inning since the third when the American League authoritatively slammed out 4 runs, only see the National League drive back with 5. And in every inning since then, with the exception of the 7th, one club or the other has done some scoring. And it's been tight. And with 2 pinch hit homers and the one bringing the National League from 1 behind to 1 ahead and the other tying up the ball game, I just don't see anything that could be more typical of the expression Midsummer Dream Classic.
Now, a little gritty guy from Anderson, Indiana is coming into the ball game, and Mel, of course, remembers this fellow from the job he did last year in the World Series. He's Brooklyn's Carl Erskine when he struck out 14 men in the 3rd game of the World Series for a new all-time World Series mark, breaking the record of the performance of Howard Emke in the 1929 World Series against the Chicago Cubs. Carl Erskine, who on Sunday pitched last. He replaces Conley, the only rookie hurler to see action for the National League today, and the second of 2 rookie hurlers. Stone, of course, was the other one. Now we must correct a previous error. Doby officially batted for Dean Stone, whose one official 1/3 inning pitch was the attempted steal of home, and of course Shane East was out despite the rhubarb by National Leaguers DeRocher, Grimm, and manager Alston. So Doby officially batted for Stone, who of course never got to the plate at all and just pitched 3 times to Snyder as the 3rd pitch came down. Red was out on a very fine play by Yogi Berra. There was an interesting situation there because Stone is a rookie and probably never figured on a steal, particularly with the third base side open to the batter. There was a left-handed batter up there with Shane Deans to his fair speed coming down the line. So this is Erskine. Mel has been combing the records looking for previous pinch home runs, and we've had 2 today, Bell and Doby, and he finds Mickey Owen in 1942. Owen is now on the Red Sox making a comeback. So Vernon has to face a right-hander anyway. There are no more left-handers left, and percentage-wise, the National League is at a disadvantage to that extent. Vernon, the defending American League champion hitter of the Washington Senators, he now resides in Wallingford, PA. One of the fine gentlemen of the game today, 6'2", 175. He's 36, but you'd never know it. He hasn't put on a pound since he started playing. Facing Erskine. Erskine's record 10-8 on the year, 3.79 in run mark. 1 out, 3 on. A ball. Two gone, a 3-2 strikeout for Erskine, and that's the 10th man to go down on strikes for the American League today. There have been 12 pitchers employed today, and it may not be over yet. Now Nellie Fox. He struck out against Grissom, whose short relief job was one of the best today. 0 for 1. And little Nellie reached way back from St. Thomas, Pennsylvania for that one. He's going all the way. In there. 1 run, 2 runs. American League 11, National League 9. He twisted one out of the reach of Dark. And that could well be the biggest blow of the day, despite all of this home run socket. Well, that's another new record. 20 runs altogether by two teams, breaking the previous record of 18 set by the National American League teams at Brooklyn in 1949. 11-9, last of the eighth, two out, and Chico Carrascal, the batter, 1 for 4. Those 2 runs, by the way, will be charged to Conley. Mantle and Berra scoring. Rosen holding second. Sky high toward short. Alvin Dark. Sides out. So, 3 runs come home. There are 4 hits, all runs charged to Conley. No errors and 2 men left on. At the end of the 8th inning, the score: the American League 11, the National League 9. The outfield. First of all, Irv Noren, who was a late choice but is leading the league in hitting, has gone in to play left field. Larry Doby, who homered, is now in center field. The great defensive outfielder, Jimmy Pearsall of the Boston Red Sox, is in right field. Al Rosen has moved over to play third base. Chico Carrascal remains at short. Likewise, his teammate Nellie Fox at second. And Mickey Vernon, who was the unsuccessful pinch hitter against Erskine, though his club certainly came through, he batted for Boone, is at first base. Pearsall in right. And the new pitcher, that's Vernon at first. The new pitcher is Virgil Trucks, the ace of the Chicago White Sox staff, of no-hit and one-hit fame. He's won 12 and lost 5. Earned run mark 2.56. Second All-Star game. He pitched 2 innings previously and was a winner. Strike on Snyder. This is the 7th American League pitcher. Make that ball 1. Ball 1. Tourneau. Rosen beeped loudly on that call down at third base. And now Stan the man, who is 2 for 4. Of course, the way things stack up now, you never can tell whether Stone will be the winner or not, but if he is, he'll probably be one of the few men in history that never even retired a hitter at the plate, though he got credit for 1/3 of an inning pitching by having a man caught stealing at the plate. There just haven't been very many walks at all. It's been mostly hitting. That's only the second pass issued by the American League. Ford had one back in the 3rd. A throw for a foul. This crowd, it doesn't know what to expect left. I'll bet you that nobody of the 68,751 paid has left this ballpark. Trucks worked 9 on Sunday. It's 11-9, the American League. But hold the phone. 1-1. Another challenge, same spot. Foul, strike 2, 1-2. Well, there you are. A very fine stop by Mickey Vernon, and he really got clubbed to the extent that Fox solicitously is asking Mickey how he feels. Gil Hodges will be coming up for the first time. The runner advancing to second, teammate Snyder. 1 away. Even thrills on putouts here. 11-9, the American League. Hodges is hitting .309 on the year with the Dodgers, 75 RBIs and 25 home runs. He has 10 sacrifice flies, but at the moment, that doesn't figure here. But we'll show you how to sacrifice fly. has lent an added feature to the game. He's been in 3 games, 9 times at the plate, 3 hits, 1 homer, 2 RBIs in the All-Star games. Corner strike. Fox, 2 gone. Got him on a hook that time. Caught him reaching. Lost his power. Now, Ransom Jackson, National League's last strand of hope at the moment. This could be it. It is. The American League wins for Stengel for the first time in 5 years. Jackson pops up now to Yogi Berra, the Yankee catcher of Stengel, and it's no runs, no hits, a walk, no errors, and 1 man left on. The final score, the American League, 11 runs, 17 hits, 1 error, 6 left. The National League, 9 runs, 14 hits, no errors. In a moment, we'll review the highlights of the game for you. Publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express consent of the commissioner is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is similarly prohibited without the express authority of the commissioner. And thus, the 21st All-Star Game is history. The American League has won for the 13th time to 8 for the National League, breaking a string of 4 successive National League victories in one of the most exciting Midsummer Dream games ever played. There was an 11-7 game which the American League won at Brooklyn in 1949 and a 9-7 game which the American League won at the Polo Grounds in 1934. The totals, the American League 11 runs, 17 hits, 1 error, 9 left on. The National League 9 runs, 14 hits, no errors, 6 left on. 6 home runs tied the all-time All-Star Game record for most home runs by 2 teams. The 31 hits tied the record for most hits by 2 teams, and the 13 pitchers used by the 2 tied the record. The winning pitcher was Dean Stone, who never pitched to 1 hitter because a man was out stealing home while he had pitched to Snyder, and the losing pitcher is Gene Connolly. We'd like to express our sincere gratitude to Clay Dopp, who directed the cameras in bringing you these wonderful pictures of this ball game, and to the entire crew, the camera crew and the technical crew. And so, fans, the story of another great All-Star Game goes into the record. By way of radio and television, we bring you other sports events of national interest the year round. Every Friday night over most of these same NBC-TV stations, Gillette presents the highlights of the week in the world of sports. For an exciting on-the-spot review of major sports events that take place during the week, check your favorite newspaper for local time and station. This is Mel Allen saying smooth sailing, smooth shaving, and good afternoon for the Gillette Safety Razor Company.